To start with this one of the things that the focal point individual can do is prepare, let's say, like a documentation whereby they can provide a list of organizations and the services that they offer, because a number of organizations do not know that there are other organizations that offer services to persons with disabilities that exist. So we may know of the organizations that attend regular events, but there are a number of organizations that I meet on a regular basis that offer services to persons with disabilities and we're not aware of them. So if that could be done, gather the information, put it in a document it, and share it with all the organizations so that they would be aware of the organization that exists, and then, of course, encourage networking, probably through some activity that would provide the opportunity or platform for persons to network.
All right, I'm going to go to Mr. James and then over to Mr. Rodriguez.
By facilitating the forum by which USFs and organizations for PWDs meet and interact.
So what kind of forum would you have in mind?
Given the nature of disability, I mean, in this day and age, people love to make use of the technology, the Skype meetings, the online meetings, but there is also a very vital place for physical meetings and dialogue.
So a mixture of face-to-face, but also...
using the electronic means.
Yeah.
Regular forums by which the USFs and organizations for PWDs meet and interact and share.
Okay, cool.
Yes, or
Actually, in this instance, it's myself speaking. To ensure that the skill sets that you're working with would actively be used by USF themselves in terms of making sure that whatever you yourself, the USF, put out online is accessible to persons with disabilities in various formats, whether through sign language, drills, whatever proper screen reading technologies being offered. Don't just say that you're being accessible to just the organizations on the outside, but you have yourself not making yourself accessible to the communities that you want to work with.
One of the ways that, in addition to having the Universal Service Fund, which is administered by some company in most countries, during their strategic plan, they could probably identify stakeholder management relationship as one of the deliverables that they could be achieved. So one of the initiatives that could be under there is the management of that relationship, not only with concessionaires, but also with the PWD organizations as well, to achieve the objectives of the Universal Service.
That would be very important because then it almost makes it a USF deliverable rather than just something additional that you do above your everyday job. Yeah.
So to encourage collaboration, I think one of the main focus should really be on public awareness, because I guess maybe in a lot of the islands, including Trinidad, there are a lot of the organizations that do not know about the USF and the principles behind it and how to access it. So I think a proper public awareness campaign needs to be done with the relevant stakeholders to get that buy-in and that collaboration activated.
Thank you. And Christine, you still wanted to just say something?
I was thinking that this person must have or be able to have that relationship between both. So they have the relationship with USF, but they also have a relationship, good relationship, working relationship with the organizations of persons with disabilities, and know that meeting point, that point where both can meet without both goals being met. So it's not one over the other.
Thank you for that thought. And Marlon, did you want to say something?
Yes, it was expanding on what you guys were talking about. was as if you read my mind. I was thinking, as it relates to the public awareness campaign, it must be in the form of either advertising through regular media or social media. But the most important component is that the awareness campaign must show collaboration. That way it can engender that whole networking between both organizations and also form public awareness, because I'm pretty sure if you walk on the street and they ask anybody, do you know the USF is? They have no clue what it is. As a matter of fact, prior to coming when you had the first meeting, I had no idea what a USF was until that first meeting. So I don't want to be the world's best kept secret, but you must have some sort of awareness, and then you can couple it by showing that collaboration between USFs and persons with disabilities, and it will go a long way for both information and to engender collaboration.
Thanks, Marlon. Trevor.
Yes. I was just wondering if, for instance, some countries have combined organizations. Should the focal point, should they be encouraging countries which, if they're working in a country that doesn't have a combined, which doesn't have a overarching body, should they be encouraging that to be formed within their country?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. We've, as you'll notice, the persons with disabilities in the room today are mostly from umbrella disability organisations from their countries. So I think most of the countries have established them, but there might be some that still need to do that work. Any more thoughts? All right, so anything from you, Sean?
Alright, so focal point. So I'm thinking, a lot of it has been written here already. In terms of the relationships, I think we need to actively participate in all of the different activities that these organizations do. So if you have general meetings, if you have events, fundraisers, etc., you would need to be able to participate in those things. That way you build some rapport with them, and then you can encourage them now to work together. So you could say, okay, because you know who's in charge of this organization, and you think you see a need here, because you've identified what their needs are, you've seen another organization, and you've seen that they can fulfill those needs, you can actually pair them up and show them how working together can actually be a benefit to them. So that's my...
Cool. Yeah, so just increasing the disability within the, increasing the visibility of the USFs within the disability community.
Yes.
Through turning up to the general meetings and the events that they hold.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yep.
Now, it was mentioned earlier that, the focal point person must have the organization backing, and I take it you mean the local, whether it's umbrella or single organization backing. But an initiative like this, in the true sense of the word, will require USF to provide some basic funding for at least a given period, because it will be hard in the beginning, because all organizations are struggling even with their own internal operations. Let's be realistic. Mm-hmm. And to add this to someone to carry to their organization, whether it be umbrella or a single organization, is going to have a toll. So I don't know how best the USF can look at giving some kind of funding support, because if this person has to travel for training, meetings, etc., I mean, a lot of it could be done electronically, true enough. But, to make the thing work properly, funding has to come from somewhere to sustain it for a given period.
Yeah, so I think we said before that the USF would need to set aside money for this person to perform their job properly. They wouldn't be expected to make something out of nothing. So yeah, that would be definitely an essential element for success. Okay, well, thank you all for your ideas, and I hope you can go away, put some more thought into this idea, and if you want to liaise with ECLAC on any aspects of the initiative, then do feel free to get into touch. And now we're going to have a 10 to 15 minute coffee break, toilet stop, and then we will enter into our final session for the day.
Karen, boy? Somebody move these things. Karen, come on. I need your guidance. What's wrong? Yeah? What's wrong? Okay.